Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Health 360. This week we're talking about NASA astronaut Sunita Williams' health in space. Also a range of stories around men's health, the less talked about men's problems. We're getting you detailed reports on World Diabetes Day. It was commemorated earlier this week. Also on the show, saree and petticoat cancer and problems associated with varicose veins. A range of health, wellness and fitness stories lined up ahead on the show. I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health 360. There is very little conversation about male infertility. 40 to 50% of infertility cases in India are driven by men. Essentially, men are now grappling with the problem of infertility, reduced sperm counts and the problems of erectile dysfunction, which many people choose not to talk about. We decided to put the spotlight on men's health. November is Men's Health Month, and that's the reason why we're talking about these less spoken about men health problems.
When we think of infertility, be honest. What comes to your mind? A woman who has possibly, one would say, missed the bus? Did not conceive during her prime and is battling infertility now? A woman suffering from diseases like endometriosis, that is the number one reason for infertility? Fact is that there is little conversation around male infertility.
Basically, we have to undo whatever has been reflected in the minds of our population, and once we've undone that, we sort of make them aware that this is a medical problem and it has to be treated like a problem and not like an issue that has to be brushed under the carpet. Talks, seminars, at every portal that one can discuss about it, this needs to be discussed.
According to the Indian Society of Assisted Reproduction, India has a significant population of approximately 27.5 million infertile individuals, encompassing both men and women.
Lack of testosterone or lack of a libido or lack of sex drive in the male can be due to mental stress, like I discussed earlier, and there could be conditions which are leading to low testosterone. Okay, and the sperm counts may be low again because of increased exposure to environmental toxins like smoking. They are not having intercourse regularly, even married couples, because both the male and the female, husband and wife, both are working. There is too much addiction to their devices, so they're not spending enough time with each other. There are intimacy issues. All these is leading to increased male infertility.
Experts talk about a range of reasons for drop in sperm count. A worldwide drop of 52% in the sperm count has been seen, says a report published in the Human Reproduction Update.
We do not know how much of preservatives are there in our food supply, how much of chemicals are there in our food supply. So across the world, the sperm counts are decreasing, infertility rates are increasing. Just 50 years back, a person would have had 60-70 million per ml sperm count. Now that is coming to 15-20 million, and we are seeing a lot of cases of severe oligoasthenospermia, which basically means sperm count less than 10 million per ml or 5 million per ml.
Sperm count is not only an indicator of male fertility, but also of men's health.
Men's sperm health is affected by multiple factors. So starting with the lifestyle factors like smoking, the drinking, the obesity, sedentary lifestyle, the abnormal work patterns, environmental factors like air pollution, environmental toxins like exposure to pesticides in the workplace, excessive exposure to heat, and health conditions like varicocele, infections, any hormonal imbalances, and lastly certain medications like the cancer chemotherapeutic drugs, certain antihypertensive drugs, or something medicines which are used for the skin. All this can interfere with the sperm's health.
One of the most common sexual issues faced by men is problems in achieving and or maintaining an erection that is adequate for sexual intercourse. This problem is known as erectile dysfunction or ED, and experts suggest that around 35% of men in India face sexual problems before the age of 40.
The commonest cause of erectile dysfunction among young men is psychogenic causes, wherein they would have some mental stress which is leading to erectile dysfunction. But in older men, there are many more causes, which is another aspect totally, which could be arterial supply or long-standing diabetes. But in younger men, it is more and more so because of mental stress that is there in the individual because of too much of work, lack of exercise, and factors like that.
November brings awareness to men's health, often something that receives very little attention. Their sexual health and the problem of infertility being one of them.
While there is a lot of conversation around women's health, but there are many problems that men also face which often is not spoken about. This time we are putting the spotlight on many of these questions that men may want to answer around their health but may not be very comfortable to. We asked our experts these frequently asked questions on men's health. So we asked our doctors, can men also get urinary tract infection? Listen in.
Yes, men can definitely get urinary tract infections, although the rates of men getting urinary tract infections is much less as compared to a woman.
What then are the signs and symptoms of UTI?
The symptoms are burning in the urine, increased urinary frequency, pain in the lower abdomen, pain in the testicles, or even fever. So, or blood in the urine rarely.
Why do you get UTIs or urinary tract infections after sex?
Men do not get UTI after intercourse, and men generally get sexually transmitted infections which could be misinterpreted as a UTI.
Can men get UTI from women is actually a very frequently asked question.
It is not like if a woman has regular UTI, her partner will also get UTI or vice versa. Some women are predisposed to urinary tract infection because of various factors. They can have an increased rate of UTI after intercourse, whereas men do not get increased rates of UTIs after intercourse.
Our experts are also asking these questions about infertility being an early predictor of prostate cancer. There is conversation about it, but what's the truth? Listen in.
The association between infertility and prostate cancer is actually hypothetical. At this point, the chance of developing prostate cancer in infertile men is still questionable. A lot of research is happening at this level.
We all know that India has become the diabetes capital of the world. We all know that children in India are developing type 2 diabetes. A lot of this we know has got to do with our lifestyles and with the food that we eat. There is enough research. The new research, in fact, points towards the direction of children being fed sugar, being introduced to sugar very early in their lives. This research talks about the fact that the first 1,000 days of a child's life right from the moment of conception, right from the time the baby is in the mother's womb is extremely important, and that sugar, if not introduced in the first 1,000 days of the child's life, will actually go a long way in preventing diabetes in the later stages of life. Take a look at this detailed report. From the time the baby is in the tummy till the time the baby is out and ready to consume all of this processed baby food, and once the baby is ready, give him or her this sugar drinks, essentially, that you mix with milk, or these fruit juices laden with sugar, empty sugar, all of these candies, when the baby is ready to consume these food items. And then we wonder why India has become the diabetes capital of the world. What's beautiful is that a new research now indicates that you can cut down the risk of diabetes in your child's life, in the later stages of your child's life, by rationing all of this, by removing all of this from their lives. Essentially, the process starts when the baby is first conceived in the mother's womb, which means the pregnant woman's role becomes extremely important here. Not consuming processed sugar in these forms is extremely important. The first 1,000 days of the baby's life from the moment of conception is important. Important not to give sugar in the first 1,000 days of their life. You help their situation. You help prevent diabetes for your kids even just as they are conceived. That is the research. The study showed limiting the intake of sugar in early life cut the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 35% and high blood pressure by 20%.
The mother's intake of sugar is less, and we restrict the sugar, or rather do not give any extra added free sugars till 2 years of life. There will be a tremendous reduction in the risk of diabetes and hypertension. Plus, they also found that even in those who actually developed diabetes, the onset of the disease was about 4 years later on an average compared to those who were exposed to higher sugar intake in the mother during pregnancy.
The greatest health improvements were seen when sugar rationing covered both the period in the womb and when the baby was weaned onto solid foods. But is it that simple with ready-to-eat processed baby foods dominating the market?
Formulas, specifically the foods that we buy from the market, the cereals, the baby foods, that could be dry foods, prepared foods, whatever they may be. So there was a survey done on 114 products which are available in the Indian market about 2-3 years ago. And what they found was that about only 30% of these products met the recommendation for sugar in young children. About 50% of them actually did not have labels on them, which is not right. They did not talk about the added sugar in these formulas. My advice to the parents, like I mentioned, would be look at labels. Even as they grow older, you should always read labels on the food that you're giving your child, because marketing gimmicks can mislead the parents very often.
I know a lot of people talk about this, that it's easier to say don't give sugar and all of that, given that your baby foods have sugar as well. Well, the idea here, experts have been saying, is moderation. So if you want to give baby food which is processed like this, if that's a compulsion, instead of giving it 3 times a day or 4 times a day, give it once a day or maybe once in 2 days. Isn't that wonderful? Moderation is always the key. While saying no to everything sugar is obviously not possible, but cutting down on portions and moderation is going to help you win that battle. NASA released pictures of stranded astronaut Sunitha Williams that left many wondering whether she is doing well. She looked like she had lost a lot of weight. Sunita Williams has allayed those fears, talking about her health and saying that she's in good health and in good spirits. But we've decided to investigate on what really happens to astronauts, what happens to their health while they are in space. Why is that they require a 4,000 plus calorie diet? Why is that they need to continue exercising? How is that women astronauts lose muscle mass while in space? This report tells you more. This picture of NASA astronaut Sunita Williams, in which she looked gaunt, has sent the internet into a tizzy, raising concerns about her health as she continues to be stranded in space. Recently released pictures have sparked global concerns, where she can be seen with sunken cheeks and a skinny appearance, prompting many to ask if prolonged space travel has taken a toll on her body. Sunita Williams, though, has allayed all fears.
I'm the same weight that I was when I got up here. I think things shift around quite a bit. You know, you've probably heard of a fluid shift where folks in space, you know, their heads look a little bit bigger because the fluid evens out along the body. So we've been on the workout gear. We've got a bike, we got a treadmill, and we got weightlifting equipment. And I could definitely tell that weightlifting, which is not something I do all the time, has definitely changed me. My thighs are a little bit bigger, my butt is a little bit bigger. We do a lot of squats, and just to go back to the treadmill, why? It's because we're working on our bone density in our hips and in our feet. So I think my body has changed a little bit, but I weigh the same.
So what has led to Sunita Williams looking extremely thin in these pictures that have been released by NASA? NASA say in space, astronauts must consume approximately 3,500 to 4,000 calories every single day, just to maintain their weight due to the calorie burning effects of living in a zero gravity environment, something that perhaps Williams was unable to do.
We're on the right-hand side, all the way on the right of the International Space Station.
A rigorous 2-hour workout is also said to be important to ensure that there is no muscle loss. Bone density loss also occurs in microgravity. This drives up the requirement for more calories. Astronauts lose 1 to 2% of their bone mass. This means they lose 10% of their bone mass in less than a year. Studies indicate that women tend to lose muscle more rapidly than men during space missions, partly due to metabolic differences between them. NASA says that Williams requires caloric intake to around 5,000 calories or more every single day, which is nearly double the intake needed by an average adult woman on Earth. But reduced appetite and gastrointestinal changes in microgravity can make eating large quantities difficult, is what experts say. NASA also says that fluids in the body shift, leaving explorers congested, so food doesn't really have much taste. Motion sickness causes nausea and dizziness, and this clearly deters explorers from eating well.
Bread, snacks, and that's a good place. That's where you find all the candy. Side dishes, and then some little power bars just in case.
In fact, nutritionists work with the astronauts to plan their menus, something that had been done with Sunita Williams and her co-astronaut Barry Wilmore. Like back here on Earth, we use ketchup and other condiments to make food interesting. Explorers have to do the same because eating is a little difficult. Living in space, research says, punishes the body as much as smoking a pack of cigarettes. It's difficult. Loss of weight is expected up to 5%, but beyond that is worrisome, is what space nutritionists have to say. The film Gravity and Interstellar underscore the challenges that astronauts face. That we know is real life, but real life is actually no different. We hope and pray that Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore return home soonest and safest. very often developments around health tend to surprise us. Very often there is little information. More often than not, there is misinformation right out there. So on trending big topics around health, we decided to talk to our experts on what they have to say about a range of issues that everybody on the internet is talking about. This is our Did You Know segment. In our Did You Know segment today, we are talking about varicose veins. Now, did you know that 25% of Indians have varicose veins, but it is not addressed effectively? So what are varicose veins and when do I get help?
Varicose veins are basically bluish discolored dilated tortuous vein, most commonly seen in the lower limbs. Varicose vein can be diagnosed by a simple test called a venous ultrasound or a Doppler. Symptoms of varicose veins are pain and numbness in the lower leg. You see big dilated tortuous veins, feeling of cramp and numbness at night. Advanced venous ulcer may present as big non-healing wounds on the ankle or anywhere in the leg.
What are the other problems that varicose veins can lead to?
Varicose vein initial stage is feeling of swelling and edema in the leg. Second is pain. Thirdly, we see the big dilated tortuous vein. Tortuous vein means big serpinous kind of veins in your leg. They may rupture and bleed. Advanced varicose vein can lead to non-healing ulcers, which may even lead to amputation of limbs at times.
Sari cancer or petticoat cancer, well, that is a thing. Did you know that wearing anything around your waist which is extremely tight can cause cancer? A recent report published in BMJ Case Reports talks about this kind of cancer. Well, it's rare, but it still is a concern. How can cancer be caused because of a tight lining around your waist?
If you are having or wearing a sari at a particular position and the petticoat at a particular position, and the skin around it becomes inflamed, and soon if you keep on putting in the same at the same spot that particular petticoat, it can further cause the chronic inflammation.
And what are the symptoms of sari cancer?
90% of the time it is going to be limited to that particular site only. Your skin might be hard, you might be having a pus discharge and then apparently a serous discharge as well. You might find some blackening around the area. The skin can become thickened or it can have an orange peel kind of a skin. If you find all those kind of a symptom, then definitely you are in a trouble. You need to talk to your doctor nearby.
Doctors tell you about what precautions should be taken.
You're not supposed to put any pressure over any area where it is chronically inflamed or there is an ulcer. That if at any point in your body you feel that your stockings or your garments are causing a compression, just switch your position of the stockings or the garments. You will prevent the chronic inflammation and definitely you are going to prevent a Marjolins ulcer and definitely you are going to prevent a squamous cell carcinoma.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did, putting it together for you. You can find these reports and much more up on our website, which is indiatoday.in. Also, Health 360 and all the detailed reports can be found on our social media platforms as well, which is Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and of course, Facebook. From the entire team of Health 360, bye for now. Take very good care of yourself.